It's the moment we've all been waiting for. High tech or heritage? Which defines the future show? Digital tools, changing audiences, new technology. The world is shifting. We're online right now, and agricultural shows are not immune to this shift. Today, we find out which direction our show leaders think we should be heading. We have two teams. We have four speakers. We have one adjudicator. That's me. Team High Tech, the affirmative. First up, he's the CEO and founder of 123 Ticks, Australian owned, operated, and headquartered in Dubbo. He's building ticketing technology that works for shows. And he's here to tell us why the future is digital. The first speaker for the affirmative is Terry Wilcher. I hope all of those in the watch parties are giving Terry a big round of applause. Alongside Terry, she's an agriculture teacher, also from Dubbo. The 2024 Ag Shows New South Wales young woman, a livestock judge, a board director with Ag Shows New South Wales, and someone who travelled to Botswana for a cattle show, which tells you everything you need to know about her commitment. The second speaker for the affirmative is Don Wyse. The negative, team heritage. First for the negative. He lives on a merino sheep and cattle property in the New England. He's involved in an alarming number of committees. He once shared a park bench with a former Prime Minister. He believes cobloaf is the pinnacle of Australian cuisine. The Vice President of Ag Shows New South Wales. He apologises in advance to the timekeepers here. It's Kelso Looker. And finally, she's the owner and editor of the Australian Working Stock Dog magazine, co-founder and co-host of the podcast Dog Talk, a champion of rural storytelling, community, and the people and dogs who keep regional Australia moving. Your 2026 New South Wales Rural Achiever, it's Laura McKillop. These are our teams, ladies and gentlemen. 4 minds, 2 very different views. Let's find out who wins. So each speaker has 2 minutes with a warning bell at 90 seconds. And that warning bell will be me saying, you have 30 seconds left. Let's hear from the first speaker for the affirmative, welcoming Terry Wilcher.
Thank you, Patrice. Not only just for chairing today, but for masterfully bringing us all together on a high-tech platform. You are the living proof of our argument that technology just doesn't manage the show. It brings us all together across the state. Good afternoon, everybody, our audience in TV land, computer land, or wherever you may be. I would also like to acknowledge our opponents today, the almighty heritage side. Now, wherever you're watching from, it could be a kitchen table, the showground office, a watch party. There is somebody out there that has had 3 courses of scones and it's not even 3 o'clock yet. Honestly, that's the whole argument. We've barely started. Look at how we've got here today. You didn't have to drive long hours, but however, having a beer together in person and having a great chat would have been the perfect solution. You didn't lose the car park to the horseblow. You didn't pay $15 for the Dagwood dog that you are going to suffer on Tuesday. You clicked on a link, and here we are all. From the Northern Rivers to Nowra, and maybe somebody from Nymagee, we're here all on the same screen. That is high tech defining the future, and it's happening right now. You are watching my argument. You are the living proof that the future is here and it's high tech. Now, let me reassure the nervous ones, we're not cancelling the wood shop or the cooking session where the yummy scones and the sponge cakes, they're safe. The CWA people, oh my God, we are not losing you. The jam and cream is just perfect.
Ding, 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 ding. Time, Terry.
We're all never going to say the prize bull and the sash, the fragrance of the design of that smell, we all love it. We all know that the committee have the shoeboxes full of entry forms stashed away under their desk. The treasurer that weeps over the ledger at night time. Let me tell you that we're also not chasing that committee member who still thinks that the fax is the way to go. Kelso, you could be still sending out that courier pigeon. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is here today. We know that technology is the future of agriculture shows. Over to you, Patrice.
Fantastic and compelling argument there, Terry. And you push the time a little bit, but we'll let everyone do just a few seconds over if that's the case, just to keep it fair. Guys, it is time to hear from our first negative speaker. It's Mr. Kelso Looker.
Thank you, Patrice. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're debating the question, which defines the future show, tech or tradition? Now, let me make one thing clear. This is not a debate about whether technology is useful. Of course it is. Technology can help us process entries, sell tickets, communicate, improve compliance, and reduce administration. But that isn't really the question today. The question is, what defines an ag show? Agricultural shows have existed for well over 150 years, and during that time, shows have constantly adopted new technologies: railways, electricity, FPOS, social media, online ticketing, and now AI. But here's the important point. At no stage did technology become the thing that defined the show. No one has ever said the future show is MySpace or the iPad, because those technologies were tools, useful tools, important tools, but tools nonetheless. Yet through every technological revolution, the thing that defines agricultural shows has remained remarkably consistent. And that's because heritage provides something technology never can. It provides direction. Tech tells us what we can do, while heritage helps us decide what we should do. And that distinction matters. 5 years from now, we'll probably be using systems that haven't even been invented yet. But the values that underpin ag shows have remained steadfast from the start. Technology only succeeds when it supports something people already value. Take online ticketing. Nobody buys a ticket because they're passionate about ticketing software. Sorry, Terry, it's just true. They buy a ticket because they care about the show. Successful shows use technology to support their traditions, not replace them, because technology serves the show, not the show the tech. The technology team will argue that technology shapes the future, and they're right, it will. But shaping the future and defining the future are not the same thing. If technology defined agricultural shows, every show using the same software would be identical, but we know that that's not true. It's our people, our history, our identity. Technology will continue to shape the future show, but heritage is what makes a show worth shaping in the first place. Technology helps us run a show. Heritage gives us a reason to have one. Thank you.
Kelso, Terry, this is a battle of the minds. I don't know what everyone's going to choose, but thank goodness we have two more speakers to help give us some clarity on this. Thank you, Kelso. It's time for our second affirmative speaker, Dom Wyse.
All right. Now, look, the irony of the heritage team making their case over this soon to an audience that's only here because of technology is not lost on me. But I'll agree with them on one thing before I respectfully take apart the rest. Heritage matters, of course it does. But heritage isn't something that you lock in a shed and admire. Heritage is something that you have to keep alive. And right across New South Wales, shows are fighting to do exactly that. Small shows are folding, committees are ageing, whole histories are lost to the day that the one person who knew it all has hung up their clipboard. Technology is how we're going to protect what we love. So put the show schedule online so the knowledge doesn't walk out the door. Live stream the Grand Parade so that a grandma can watch from afar, or the family that's moved from the city can really immerse themselves into their hometown and their show. And put your show records in the cloud, not in a shed that floods, because all of us back home in the Taree showgrounds know exactly how well water and paperwork mix. And we need to think about the threats that are going to sink a show overnight, whether biosecurity risks with real-time forecasting, online biosecurity records, and digital incident reporting. Well, that's not going to replace the show. That's insurance for it, which will certainly make Phil from Marillion very happy. And it's about growth. And today proves it. We've gathered here across the state with over 200 people here today, without the buses, without the high fuel prices. And look at our partners at 123 Ticks powering hundreds of events each year.
30 seconds, Dom.
It's 6 p.m. opening night of the show, and you get a family through the gate in seconds. That's technology at its best. One good digital photo taken on a mobile phone, shared to social media, it reached 10,000 people for free. Or a young person who's entered online this year, they could be a committee president in just 5 years. So it was never high tech or heritage. High tech is the thing that guarantees heritage has a future at all. The shows that embrace it will be still running in 100 years. And the ones that don't, well, you can join Kelso and Laura in their very outdated fax machine in our dust, because the future is high tech.
Oh, okay. This high tech Dubbo team, strong form. It's time to hear from our second and final speaker before we hit the rebuttal round, which I can't wait for. Laura McKillop.
By now, you guys have heard a lot about what technology can do for ag shows, and I don't disagree with all of it. Technology can help us run things better. It can sell tickets, take entries, manage volunteers, and save people a few hours. And that matters, but we have to be careful not to confuse the tool with the purpose. Technology is not what makes someone drive through the gates of an agricultural show. Long before online ticketing, apps, or social media, people were still bringing cattle, horses, cakes, pumpkins, fleeces, and kids through those gates. They came because the show was theirs. Their family had shown their neighbour was stewarding, maybe their grandmother had entered something in one of the pavilions. Their kids wanted to see the cattle, judging, find their school art, or go on some rides. That is not a system, that is a belonging. Technology can help run the show, but heritage gives people a reason to come. It's in the handwritten place cards in the pavilions, the same families volunteering year after year, the older stewards showing the younger ones where the ribbons go, the ring announcer everyone knows by voice before they've even seen them. And underneath all of that, there is trust. A lot of people, young and old, still find technology hard to trust and want to know if there is a real person on the other end. Someone they can ask, someone who understands, and someone who knows not everything can be fixed by clicking a link. And I think that matters in the show movement, because shows are not just events, they are relationships. They are built by people who turn up year after year, often without being asked, because it matters to them and their community. Traditions endure, technology ages quickly. What felt modern 5 years ago can already feel outdated today. But a champion ribbon, a cattle shed, a prize-winning scone recipe, a kid leading their horse or cow, those things still mean something. So I'll leave this with you. If technology disappeared tomorrow, could we run an agricultural show? Yes, it might take longer. We might need extra paper, phone calls, cash boxes, and a fair bit of patience. But the show would go on. However, if the heritage and traditions disappeared, what exactly would we be asking people to come to?
Laura, and right on time. Oh my goodness, I am completely torn. I don't know how everyone's going to decide, but thank goodness we have rebuttals to help us make a decision here. Now, for those of you who don't know the debating world, a rebuttal is your chance to fire back, where each team gets a short, sharp opportunity to challenge what the other side has just argued. We're going to go in the same order. Each speaker has 90 seconds to rebut. It's time to hear from the first speaker of the affirmative, Terry Wilcher.
I love the fact that they're still living in the Stone Age, especially Kelso. Seriously, we are in 2026. We've battled the Depression. We've battled the COVID times. Let's get with the future, Kelso. Let's get with technology. You know as well as I do, technology is here. It's the place, and you love it personally. Let's say, how do we advise the show is on? We use technology. We no longer use the old methods. Yes, the beautiful smell of the cattle, we love that too, but the younger age have got their head in devices. We need to work with those younger people, Kelso. We need to make sure that they have the ability to know that it's on. Our second speaker on the negative side said, yes, technology helps the show. Of course it does. Your volunteers all love technology and they're embracing it. Admit it, High tech is here to stay, and high tech here is the winner today.
Thank you, Terry. I'm getting the sense that Kelso is pretty fired up, so I think it's best that we throw to Kelso.
Thanks, Patrice. I will commend my learned colleagues from Dubbo with some of their comments, because they aren't wrong. Technically, neither side in this discussion is wrong. They're just wronger than we are. It's a tool, one I use myself. I use 123 ticks at my local show, and it's fantastic. Cannot recommend it enough. If we weren't deadly adversaries right now, Terry, I'd give you a really good plug. But what we were talking about wasn't, does technology make it more useful? And it does, makes it much more useful for our volunteers, saves us time. But we are talking about the future of the shows. And Laura succinctly put it, that if all of the technology that we use disappeared tomorrow, would we still be able to put on a show, which is the future of the show? Yes, it's tough, but we've done it. But if everything that makes up a show, its very heart and soul, was to disappear, and we were left with online ticketing and an FPOS machine and social media, would people still come through the gates and allow us to continue our 150, 200-year traditions? No, it's very simple. You can watch a cow or a horse or a cake, but you cannot, or you technically, I guess you can watch an iPad, but you aren't going to get the engagement and the community connections like what we're arguing here. I think it's a very relevant question, because we are online, but I think everyone who's here today will say, after going through COVID, the one thing we craved was networking and engagement with people. That's why we saw such record numbers at our shows once we were free to go somewhere. And while this is an important step forward in being able to do CAS online, it's no more than a tool to allow us to network. You cannot remove that tradition and that heritage entirely. Thank you.
Well done, Kelso. The heart and soul. What a strong argument. Okay. We need to balance this out again. Of course, we need to come back to our affirmative team, our high-tech team, and we need to hear a rebuttal from Dom Wyse.
Beautiful. So technology is the innovation. Nobody comes to a gathering that they're not going to hear about. And like my opposition has just said, that heritage alone will carry ag shows into the future. But heritage that refuses to evolve eventually fades away. They told us that technology is a fading past and that cows and horses are what drag people in. But yet every tradition we celebrate today once was that initial innovation. The first woodshop competition was new. The first Ferris wheel was revolutionary. The first electric light at the showground was considered modern technology. Tradition without renewal isn't heritage. It turns it into a museum. High-tech isn't replacing the souls of our shows. It's amplifying it. It's our social media that fills our grandstand. Our online ticketing removes those barriers for our members. And live streaming connects rural communities to audience hundreds of kilometres away. Technology allows for a new generation to discover, engage, and ultimately protect these traditions. The future of shows is not choosing between high-tech or heritage. Heritage is the story, but technology is the megaphone that ensures that the story is heard. Because if young people never see it, never hear about it, and never connect with it, then there is nothing left to preserve. The future of shows belongs to those brave enough to honour our past whilst embracing the tools of tomorrow. Without high-tech, heritage doesn't grow, and it simply grows old.
Dom Wyse with a fierce comeback there, talking about carrying ag shows into the future. That's what technology does. And you were right on time too, Dom, so commending you for that. Our second and our final speaker for the rebuttal and for the debate, handing it over to Laura McKillop.
Thank you. The technology side has definitely made a few fair points. Yes, it helps. And yes, like Dom said, we're even having this debate online today. But that does not mean technology defines the future of ag shows, because we would not need to even be here having this conversation if it had not been for the generations of heritage and tradition before it. Technology may be the platform today, but heritage is the reason the show movement exists in the first place. And when we talk about young people, I agree, social media matters. Most of us wouldn't have a business without it. It might be the first place they see a show. It might be what reminds them that it's on. It might be what gets them through the gate for the first time, but social media only gets their attention. Heritage is what gives them something to belong to. It's what makes them enter the pavilion, lead an animal, help on the gate, steward in a section, join a committee, or come back year after year. A post can promote a show, but it cannot replace the feeling of being a part of one. That's why I keep coming back to this same point. I'm not arguing against technology. I'm arguing against confusing the tool with the purpose. Technology can help run the show, but heritage gives them a reason to come. So yes, if technology helps carry the load, then good, but heritage is still the reason there is a load worth carrying. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you to our two teams. Again, as I said before, what a battle of the minds. We have these arguments around technology carrying ag shows into the future. It's an amplification when we think of things like social media and live streaming and, of course, ticketing. But then we've got this other side, really strong arguments when it comes to the heart and the soul of ag shows, 150 or 200 years of tradition. Technology, this technology we've got, yeah, great, it's a tool. But what about the generations and heritage? That's why the show movement exists. Okay, to our viewers, it's the moment of truth. You've heard both sides. You've had time to think. Who won the debate? High tech or heritage? Or was it a draw? We're going to give you a few moments because this is a really tough decision. We've had some very compelling arguments, some very clever speakers, quite articulate, quite fiery. I can't wait to find out who won. Is it high tech or is it heritage? I'm dying to know. We're going to give you a moment now, just a moment of silence until we really let the results come in. I've got Sarah next to me. Give you a moment. I almost don't want to read. I'm so nervous. Just imagine a big drum roll right now, ladies and gentlemen. The votes are in. In second place. Oh, we've just got 30% believed it was a draw. 65% have come in, and the winner is Team Heritage. Congratulations. What a battle. Thank you so much to our debaters for taking the time to come and have some fun and debate a really important issue, knowing that the two can come together. I love that 30% of you thought it was a draw and 65%, a very strong decision there, Team Heritage. So well done to Team High Tech. Well done to Team Heritage. Thank you so much for your contribution.